What is happening, everyone? Today is a good day to drink Red. No, I don't have Red Bull with me, but I do have this cup, which I enjoy very. What's that? What's that taste like? It's almost better than coffee. Almost. I like coffee a lot too. Happy birthday, Hex. Definitely happy birthday, Hex. 3 years old, trustless, 100% uptime. Couldn't ask for more. Green candles would be nice. We could ask for that, I guess, but those, it goes up and down, and you never know when they're going to come back based on the history and charts and not financial advice. You know what I'm saying? Everyone share the link. There are not enough people on here to justify this show because we have a couple heavy hitters on. May have one or two joining us later as well, later on the show. I'm only going to be going for about hour 15, something like that, because I got a local Hex meetup afterwards. But today is a great day because not only are we going to ask a robot when PulseChain launch, we are also going to give away a WAATSA NFT. Now, usually I don't only give them away when we do 100% uptime, but it's Hex's birthday. So I kind of, I'm very heavily incentivized to give a no strings attached WAATSA NFT away today that OpenSea, they don't have anymore. And you used to be able to have to pay 2 or 3 times as much as you could get from the yield for them or trade them in for. And now I don't think they exist. None of the big ones even exist anymore. That's how they got snatched up. So all you got to do, we'll do it probably about half hour or so, get into it. I'll ask a question. You put the first right answer in the chat, wins it. You tag me, whatever, on Twitter. And then I'll DM you and you send me your ETH address, send you the NFT, and boom, you get to start getting ICOSA yield with the NFT and all that fun stuff. So today we have 2 gentlemen coming up first here. Funding Jim, true pillar in the community, leader, conduit from the Hex community to the outside and all the communities in between. And we have Dixon Piper, the chart master, has a great tan. Only person I can talk to Corn Futures about, but he didn't bring a chart today, so we're not going to bring it up, I guess. Okay. But in the chat, it's all fair game. You ask about Corn Futures, I will post that question. Boom, bang. Welcome to the stream, Gary Funding Jam and Dixon Piper.
Howdy.
Marketing 101.
Hey, you couldn't see it, but now you can. 3, you see it. Custom shirts. Boom. Yes.
Anybody want a yellow shirt?
More stuff. Yeah. Where's the Hex? You sew a little patch on. That'd be cool, right?
I don't do much shopping or buying in general, so
it's usually just neon wife beater.
That's it.
Some flavor. I like
That's
it. I like it. Remind me of Dip Catcher. He always wears the black one, and he does sometimes no shirt on his streams. So you can do whatever you want. It's the internet. Gentlemen, let's get into how do you feel on December 2nd, 2022? There's been so much going on, so much in the market, so much, and we'll get into the markets afterwards. But just how do you feel being around this ecosystem and just seeing what's happened, the transition from where we came from, where we're at now? Gary, go first, and just kind of set the stage for what are our expectations or not our expectations? What can we have no expectations about the future, and how do you see this community growing? What do you think?
So I want to lead into Dixon later because he knows so much about like cycles and chart, and his commentary I value a lot. So I'm kind of setting up for his response after me. So in 2018 into 19, development of the idea of the product, in the middle of a bear from the 2017 collapsing into 18 market, right? And the bear is happening. Everyone's despondent to a degree. Community starts to come together. Product idea of Hex is fielded. Some game theory elements were removed and some were added. Such as longer pays better and things like that were really worked out as far as game theory of how that would code. I know people were doing short stakes and they were actually getting a higher ROI in the first versions of Hex, and that got remedied. So there's a lot of different stuff about like what would this product be like, and when everyone was sad because they lost all their money in ICO land. And this concept came together, the product came together, the launch occurred. The people that threw, $100, if they sat on $100 worth of Hex for, even today at this price point, they've done phenomenally well. There's been market appreciation of the product as far as the value of the product itself. There's been yield as far as the APY that, the game theory said would likely happen. The staking percentage versus liquid has been, displayed in different websites, such as Staker app or all these other websites where you could, even ones that no longer do we look at. But there's a lot of different content out there looking directly at the blockchain about what's happening on HEX, the product, or the community growth or adoption, all these different narratives. And so 3 years into this product existing, we find crypto cycles might be a real thing. It might be what Richard had said 3 years ago, that we tend to have 3 years of bear and then 1 year or so of bull, that this has gone on, 13 or 14 years as far as the asset class of cryptocurrency as a whole. So it's interesting that we sit, 3 years into it in the middle of this winter that may or may not be going on for a while. And our tool set is available to us, because when we launched in 2019, even though we had heard about staking and we heard the concept of staking ladders, we learned also that maybe staking longer than 2 years or 3 years or 4 years would be more beneficial, and people early in stake so that they could restake. And percentages, like I remember people were making when it was less than a penny to do a transaction, and Ethereum was, $120 in Ethereum, people were very willy-nilly with how much HEX that they staked, how often that they had a stake coming out. Like some people have daily stakes coming out. 3 years later, they still have daily stakes that they're managing, right? Because it was inconsequential to pay a penny for starting a stake. And people started out maybe with, 1 to 2 year horizon staking. And then, as the community grew and more knowledge about the product, or, different strategies came to light, people said, maybe I'll do 15 years and I'll have an annual stake. So there's 15 stakes. Or maybe I'll do it every year, every 6 months, biannually. And maybe I'll fill in those gaps. And so it was interesting to see all of that history and still know that it's on the blockchain, still know that there's people that are still managing those early decisions, whether good or bad. And now we have the benefit of educating the new participants. Here's what we did. Here's what worked out really well. Here's what probably worked out not so well, because I didn't understand the product as in depth as I have now myself and others, right? And lay that over on top of the macroeconomic picture about, if money printers are turned on, a lot of things go up and to the right, not just cryptocurrency. If you're talking about the stock market, is crypto as a whole pretty much a tech stock, and it's a leveraged position on tech stocks? Is stock pretty much a leveraged position on money printers? Some of these narratives, we've become more sophisticated in our understanding of the economic picture, and then more sophisticated in our understanding of the product itself of HEX. So I think we're in a great position. One, as far as how many participants there are, known or unknown, in the product itself. And two, a lot of reflection and trends that we can look at, and overlaying it on things that are like macroeconomic cycles and the growth of our own networks. Who do we influence now that we have a platform, and now that we have a call sign as far as HEX or the icons of HEX. So that's kind of where I lead that for my answer. And I'm really curious how Dixon would interpret a lot of that.
Can you ask that question again, just so I fully understand what I'm answering? So don't.
Yeah, like macro picture of cryptocurrency. I've heard you talk a lot, and it has been about whether you like Bitcoin or not, you reference a lot of what goes on in HEX as, to the trend cycles of Bitcoin and the trend cycles of money printer or stock market. So most of the content I've caught of yours have been cycle information more than only the product of HEX.
So I hopped on Twitter and stuff back in February during once the bear market started pretty much. And I made the YouTube channel and Twitter name Chartmaster. And the only reason I was doing that was because I thought that everybody's put so much work into all this community stuff for 2.5 years, and I really haven't done barely anything, to be honest with you. You know, I used to contribute some ideas and stuff into the Telegram back when Hex was starting and stuff. Like, other than that, like, I haven't really done anything, but I figured I'd try to contribute, and I didn't really know what way that would be in, but I figured the first and easiest thing I could do, since I have a bunch of equipment here sitting in my office, is just start making some YouTube videos. And I honestly, I don't like looking at charts. I don't look at charts. I could care less about charts. For when I'm buying and selling commodities like corn and oil, I could care less. I've almost never looked at a corn chart in my entire life, and I've been selling grain for 20 years. Same thing with oil.
Corn in, man.
When it
Somebody's
comes,
going to ask about corn futures here in a second. I swear they are. They are.
When it comes to crypto, I mean, it's kind of the same way. I kind of understand the cycles. I kind of have a belief that this time is not different. That's one of my rules when it comes to how these cycles work. And that's why, I mean, I made a channel talking about charts and stuff, just because there is a demographic audience that Hex people are not hitting. And I think a diversified amount of, like, diversified content is better. If we can have somebody talking about other things, the better, instead of just everybody just talking about Hex all the time, you know? And that's why I would rather, I mean, to be honest with you, I never intended on like being involved with all the community stuff. I wanted to have a little channel and like just talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum and large cap crypto stuff, and then like trickle in Hex information at the back and kind of shadow shill to an extent, you know, and not necessarily be a Hex streamer, but essentially a mainstream streamer. But I just don't have the time to do it in my current situation. But I mean, the big thing is, like, I never believed, well, I shouldn't say I never believed, but I have a hard time buying into the value proposition of Hex and Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of crypto. I've always told everybody that I onboard. Currently, I believe this is all speculation, but I think there's potential for everything to, for things, value propositions to actually fulfill, I guess, is for a lack of better words, I guess. And so like Bitcoin, yeah, I don't believe Bitcoin's going to be a world money, but who knows if CBDCs start coming in and people like their freedom, maybe Bitcoin starts getting more adopted by some countries, and maybe it actually is a medium exchange. Maybe people actually do start in higher numbers than what we have now, believing that Hex is a long-term store of value. Seeing what happened in this bear market has made me believe in this stuff a lot more, to be honest with you. With I think the biggest thing that ever happened to DeFi was Uniswap, and I don't think people appreciate how useful and how innovative that is, that we're making trades on code on the internet instead of having offices with tens of thousands of people sitting there operating your KYC and your trades. We don't have a single employee. It's people. I don't think people understand or comprehend the efficiency that some of this stuff provides. And seeing that and seeing everything collapse, but the actual DeFi stuff like Aave, I think Aave did have a little bit of a problem that they, if I remember right, I just saw something online. It seemed like it had a little bit of a hiccup, but it all is working when CeFi and centralized stuff is not. So it actually gives me a little more conviction about actually believing in DeFi being more than just degenerate gambling, and believing that Hex actually does have some type of future of being the value proposition it claims to be. And same thing with a lot of this stuff. I forgot what I was going to add on to that, but oh yeah, basically like before, I mean, the first couple of years I was very timid to onboard too many people, just with kind of how Richard Hart is. I put this on Twitter one time that like I'm from like a very Christian community, very conservative community. And I mean, it's a really tough sell for me saying like, hey, I got this guy that built something really cool, and we're doing things different in crypto. But it's, once you get one video Richard to somebody that's believes in Christ and going to church every single Sunday, it's a really hard sell, to be honest with you. And even if you don't bring Richard's name up, I mean, it kind of gets brought in there, but seeing all this stuff happen, like the collapse of centralized exchanges and the lending stuff going belly up, it's easier for me to, how should I put this, like build my case for what we're doing here and not have to I don't have to market the man. I can market the product, seeing that the product did not fail through all this chaos pretty much. So like, even like, honestly, during all these holidays in the last month, I've told and onboarded more local people than I have since Hex started, basically.
Wow.
So I think the outlook is really good. I mean, long story short, I think the fact that DeFi and the core things of DeFi actually survived all this crypto winter, I think is a pretty big testament to how cool this stuff is.
Yeah, just what you said about the onboarding the community and seeing Richard. I think that's the hardest. It's either, I guess, that branch of it is, I guess, the lesser talked of, I think, or lesser talked about version. I think the biggest thing that is hard for people to get over with Richard is that their scam detector keeps misfiring, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, they're used to seeing somebody who looks like that, ripping people off or doing something, or only self-interested and not like there's no win-win scenario for it.
I personally, when Hex started, I invested in the man, and now it's turning more towards I'm investing in the product and how things operate. I think that's how a lot of people are going to start doing things.
I think so, but I think it's this particular ecosystem and all the other products that people are in there for. You got HEX with all the derivatives, all the stuff like that keep bringing a lot of other people in. There is more than Richard Hart here for you to like, which I think that's a good thing. I think, for all the, when I look at Dixon, I think it's splitting buying pressure conversation because that really opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. But having that interestingly enough, on the fundamental side, that gets people focused on something other than Richard if they don't like him, for example, for whatever reason. But you really do have to get, I phrase it as you have to get out of your own way to get to like buy into some of this stuff. And yeah, if I would have, if I hadn't been following Richard since 2017, if I would have been following him since 2021, I don't think I would have been on. I don't think I could have got on board. I wouldn't have been on with the Prada shows. I came on for the self-help, for the health, wealth, wisdom stuff, for all the, like just the crypto, the Bitcoin maxi stuff at first. At least I could learn something from that. Mm-hmm. But it is interesting how this ecosystem has evolved in a way that you don't even need to pay attention or like Richard, but you love these other products. You're in it for these other things, and which maybe they map up to him, maybe that they don't, but it still gives you something else to hang on to, even if you're not a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Who you texting funny, Jim?
Yeah, I was just reading up about the BNB anchor thing because Dixon had said something about a different platform. But yeah, nice. Just reading up some articles. Again, all the beauty of Hex as a product, on-chain staking, self-contract, that kind of stuff without a centralized party. I think that's a lot of the turbulence that's going on. Everyone that asks me anything about crypto, because I've talked to them over the years, recent stuff that they talk about is, the FTX thing or Brady thing or whatever it might be. So that becomes the conversation point, and it's fine to engage it for a little bit, but then, I end up diverting to Hex being on chain. You are the participant with the code. Your reward is based on the code and your interaction. So it's it's good.
That's exactly how I've gone into things too. Everybody at Christmas or whatever, Thanksgiving and the holidays and stuff would bring up this FTX situation. And I'm like, well, yeah, because no one before knew that I owned crypto in real life. And that's part of why I've been, I guess you could say, pseudo anonymous around here. But I'm making some life changes where moving places to where I kind of had to tell like all my family and friends and work acquaintances about the situation and where I'm going and stuff. And that's what led into me, them talking to me about FTX and basically we'd talk about FTX for 2 minutes, and then they're like, well, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good, because I was using immutable code. I was using Uniswap. I was one of the first people to ever use this. And here, you guys should use this too, because here's why it's great. And it's actually, it sucks for all the people involved in all this stuff. Don't get me wrong. I know this sounds like insincere, but like, it really did open up how great the stuff we are involved with is.
Yeah, I think that's what I've been highlighting is, again, you know, sovereignty. What is crypto? What is an asset that you hold control of? What's the responsibility? Seed words, you know, don't get hacked. I mean, there's a lot of fear words that are strange to the general person that has never participated. And so the you know, I hear this often, and I heard it in a stream earlier today. It was, well, it's just, you know, it's hard. Okay, yeah, it's hard. Okay, fine. It was hard to learn how to tie my shoes. It was hard to learn how to speak language. You know, I did that, you know, as a little baby, and I became speaking language, right? Or, you know, it's these things are only hard if we let them be constantly commented as being hard. Like, I think that even when people, I have some sympathy to a degree, and I try to be reasonable in how I respond when people say that they lost their crypto on FTX, Celsius, 3 Arrows Capital, you know, whatever it is, Nexo, BlockFi, right? To a degree, I'm like, that's terrible. But you didn't lose your crypto because you didn't have your crypto. It wasn't your crypto. It wasn't even crypto. It was a ledger entry that you dealt with on a cell phone or on a laptop, and you just had numbers, right? But you didn't actually have any control whatsoever. At any time, you could have been shut out by government. At any time, the assets on that platform could have been taken. At any time, they could have been used and leveraged against you, forcing down your price. So you're really not in crypto or own crypto if you're on a platform like that, especially a centralized exchange. So like I try to balance that response, and I do know people that have lost, you know, significant money, and you know, I talked to them about HEX a year and a half ago. I remember specific on this person that I'm thinking of right now, and they were lamenting to me about how they had lost money on Celsius, and then they had also, after Celsius, lost money on FTX. And part of me is like, didn't you learn from your Celsius loss? Like,
Yeah.
What lesson did you pick up when Celsius locked you out of your money? Like, what did you learn? Well, you didn't learn not to take it off of FTX. Like you continued, you know, you continued the same bad habit I talked to you about before. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yep.
some of it is like you have to be careful about your tough love approach when you're onboarding people or people that are quote unquote in crypto. Like, I deal with people that are mostly real estate or they mostly other investment assets, and they have people on their stages talking, you know, talking at their seminars about real estate, but they're talking about crypto. And the first thing that they end up saying is, I've got crypto, I've got Bitcoin, I've got Ethereum, and it's, you know, it's on Coinbase. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, it's not yours. Like, that's the thing I want to drill home, you know?
Well, the people who you know, go from Celsius to FTX and, you know, one centralized platform that they don't, as you said, they don't even own their crypto. They didn't lose it because they never owned it. They kind of, you know, they gave it away. How do we get HEX in that conversation? Is there anything else we can do to be like, here's the 3 buttons, you know, here's the shining big button you should press that says go and don't lose your money, own your crypto, have control of your stuff. And the other 2, you know, at least after you get burnt twice, you'll come here. How do we get that into the conversation?
You know,
Another interesting thing is, you know, when we talk about some of these things like economics of a supply that inflates or a supply that deflates, when we talk about dollars, you know, the concept of inflation affecting your purchasing power, you know, like you're getting less bread and eggs for your dollar, you know, like we have that explainer. When we talk about that in economics, right? When you talk about it in cryptocurrency, and, you know, again, HEX has a model that is a known set inflation rate, and it has this concept of a T-share that is disinflationary, or it brings down, you over time can get fewer and fewer potential T-shares. So like, some of these have nuance in how we explain them or how I try to explain it. But, you know, the point I'm making about the centralized exchange stuff is if people like to say there's only ever 21 million Bitcoin that's ever going to exist, maybe 4 million have been lost, or they don't have access to the keys or whatever it is over the past 13 or 14 years. So maybe there's 17 or 18 million real Bitcoin available that could be sold supply or traded supply. And then you have these announcements by centralized exchanges trying to prove that they're solvent and saying, well, we have control of this many Bitcoin and that many Bitcoin. I heard a number the other day, I don't know if it's even true, about Coinbase having 2 million. I don't know how many they actually hold, or how many the Grayscale holds, or how many, you know, Whale XYZ holds. But like, you know, if you're talking about reducing supply available to be sold, there isn't a better model to me than a smart contract that actually removes that supply. Also impacts the market cap as far as like a marketing element of what's available to be sold, you know, versus T-shares. So there's no better thing to make my effort to explain when it comes to cryptocurrency than HEX, because it is on chain, it is smart contract, you are in control, you do have a choice about early ending or, you know, actually generating yield because you complete your contract with yourself. Like there's a lot of benefit of going through the tedium of explaining that instead of explaining, you know, this is how you get into Coinbase, this is what you look for on a you know, the exchange numbers that they're telling you, this is how you know, how are you being front run by the platform? I think that's one of the issues with Coinbase right now is, you know, so many of the tokens that got launched on that platform have effectively been proven to be front run by employees of Coinbase.
That was crazy.
Your position. They see you're long, you're short. They see when you wonder why liquidation wicks stop right after you got liquidated. There's a reason. They can see exactly where you're at. Why would they want to go further?
Yeah.
So I love like Richard in conversation when I was with him in Miami, he had said the same sort of thing. He said, you know, Bitcoin is amazing, but he thinks that Uniswap may have been like more impressive than Bitcoin. Like, you know, solving the Byzantine generals issue, being able to cryptographically send something of value that, you know, can't be duplicated or effectively counterfeited as a transaction. Those are inventions and innovations that we talk about from 14 years ago that still have some relevance today. But like even Richard had said about you, like how Dixon had said about Uniswap, that's an amazing that you can actually be transacting in code without a center party. You know, they can manage their front end, but the contracts itself of Uniswap are an amazing invention.
Is the question how to get CeFi people into DeFi or no coiners into DeFi, or is it both kind of?
Yeah. Is it okay? You know, go to this exchange, get your money on board.
I'll just say for my most recent people that I'm kind of getting into crypto, because like, man, prices are down 80 to 95%. I'm telling everybody I get into crypto, I tell them, if you buy it now, you're going to lose 50% of your stack at some point. That's just the cost of doing business in crypto. The volatility, you're going to lose 50%. Be prepared for it, but you got to wait through it basically. But how I direct all the people I know to get into crypto now is actually Gary told me about this trust token that you can basically wire transfer money straight into a MetaMask wallet. And so I started playing with that, and I don't know why more people aren't talking about that. Like it's awesome. You can bypass Coinbase. You don't have to get crap shoved down your email address every single day. Go straight to your wallet. But basically, I usually don't tell people about HEX right off the bat. Like usually when I'm onboarding somebody, I tell them like, hey, you should buy some ETH when it's the right price. And now I'm telling people to go to this trust token deal because of how just easy it is compared to all these other exchanges. It's not even an exchange. It's just they send an ERC20 stablecoin straight into your wallet from a wire transfer. And like that's
is that TrueUSD?
Yes.
Yeah, TrueUSD is the dollar version of their ERC20. They have Hong Kong dollar, euro, Australian dollar, and American dollar. So they have 4 versions of currency, and they are escrow. So their SIC code, which is a business has a code to it, and the SIC code for an exchange, like a crypto exchange, a marijuana dispensary, a hospital, those are all going to have codes for their business, at least as far as American accounting and bank interactions and so forth. They use that information. And so banks look at SIC code of a marijuana dispensary. And back when everything was illegal, some banks would say, we're not going to transact. So I know federal banks can't interact with marijuana dispensaries. State banks have to, because it's allowed in a state, but it's not allowed federally, right? So the SIC code matters, is my point. And when you're dealing with trust token, or TUSD is their dollar version, but trust token, do the research, make sure you go to the right website, make sure there's not a spoof, but trust token, they were founded in 2017. I spoke directly to the CEO and the founders back in 2017 before HEX. And Stanford, there were Stanford alumni. Stanford's also a major investor. Stanford controls billions and billions of dollars worth of assets of all sorts. And Stanford is only comfortable being it's not a percent. I don't even think it's a percentage. It might be a percentage of the total amount that goes into escrow. But the same way that an escrow company works, if you're going to buy a business, you're going to buy real estate, you're going to buy a fancy, expensive car, you're probably going to use an escrow agent, and they're going to make sure that you receive the title and without any kind of encumbrance of your business or your property, real estate, or car. And they're going to make sure that that happens from the seller. And they're going to make sure that your money transacts and actually gets the endpoint of the seller, right? So that's their responsibility. And they have a smaller cost, I believe. I haven't looked in a while. They have a smaller cost than if you were to directly buy USDC, which might be zero cost actually for USDC. But I just don't like sending people to a centralized exchange because they have 200 shiny objects. And the novice, the new guy that I just talked about, and I invested time into educating about crypto, I really don't want them going into the casino. So I choose an escrow agent, and the escrow agent has 1.5 billion last time I checked of dollar for ERC20 equal. Like they're not playing in the markets as far as their quarterly reports. Their margin is basically the fee for service element of an escrow company. They don't even have the permission, I don't think, to have centralized exchange functionality. Like they don't have the FTX type of permissions. There is no such thing as commingling because they don't actually participate in the marketplace. They simply enable you to create as a bridge, and they have the fee service of a bridge of going from a fiat into an ERC20. When I've talked to them most recently, most recent time that I talked to them, the C-suite at least, was about 7 or 8 months ago. And it was because I was trying to get a fiat bridge for PulseChain for a PRC20 instead of an ERC20. And they've told me that when the code is out, when they can do audit, when they can basically do the same kind of QA they did, or the same kind of due diligence before they started issuing on Ethereum, that they have said that they'll consider the PRC version as an option. So I like them for more than one reason. And there's, as far as like even the dollar into PulseChain or ERC20 or anything like that. Like I spoke at the PulseCon event in Las Vegas with the founders of Maven Credit Union, and Maven Credit Union similarly is able to issue when they come online. They're not coming online until May, but when they come online, they will likely also be a fiat bridge into PulseChain, because they will be also a fiat bridge into Ethereum as an ERC20 stablecoin, and likely a PRC20 version of a stablecoin as well, because they're serving the function. As a credit union, you have more permissions than you do as a retail bank. It's different charters. It has different rule sets in the United States, and their charter is based on, I think, 1934 or 35, something like that, about banks being able to be credit unions. What is a credit union? And their rule set has more liberty than retail banks about participating in this crypto market. They actually have parts of their charter that talk about digital assets. Like the concept of crypto before Bitcoin existed was actually in the charters of credit unions. So there's a lot of really good stuff about the onboarding through just the conversion of your financial energy in your currency, your government currency, into the financial representative in cryptocurrency.
And they're launching mid-May then?
Yeah, the last time I talked with them was maybe about a month after the PulseCon event was over, the Pulse convention was over. And I've connected them with Richard as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on back there. But yeah.
Just to finish up on what I was saying about how like I was onboarding people, is it just sending them through that TUSD, going straight into a MetaMask wallet, because you have to have a MetaMask wallet set up to get your money. And then I show them instantly. I actually send them to uniswap.hedron.pro because HEX is in that, it's in the default at the very top. But I tell people at first to buy some ETH, but then I basically trickle in what HEX is and why basically telling people why I wasn't involved. Like my dad was here in the office the other day and he was like, because I had to tell him, he knew about crypto or my crypto, but he's like, he's seen all this FTX stuff on the news and he's like, how did you not get caught up in all this? Like, well, I was in this HEX deal and me and some people use this, all this decentralized stuff that has no people that can fail. So that's basically the point in how I went to all this family stuff when people were bringing up the FTX situation. And that worked out really good for me getting people actually interested compared to the pitch I was having to make a couple of years ago, seeing that it actually succeeded through all this chaos. But my other question I was going to have was, Gary, it seems like not many people use that TUSD for whatever reason. There's not a ton of it on Uniswap, which that is for bigger people might be a little bit of a problem. But like people I know, they're getting in with 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, not like it can handle that. But if they came to PulseChain, like you're talking about, could that be like the primary native stable of PulseChain? Is there any reason it couldn't be? Like, why is it not any bigger than what it is on Ethereum? Why aren't people using this? It's such a better option. Yeah.
Well, you got to look at, what's the benefit of a Coinbase offering a stable coin, is so that, they can mint out and they can provide a lot of liquidity on even DEXs, and or it can be put as liquidity by individuals instead of Coinbase itself. But it's a one-for-one actual accounting escrow. So the dollars that are minting TUSD are dollars that got wired in by people, right? And it sits in a bank account, and it earns its modest little interest as far as its value, as far as the what's locked up. But by law, it's locked up. By law, it can't move and be participating in other markets and trading against you or anything like that. It's actually dollar ledger accounted in its rule set. And I hear what you're saying also about, like, I don't trade, like my onboarding or offboarding may be in TUSD because that's just a better ramp, but I treat it as a bridge and it's just a ramp. And then once it gets into an ERC20 as a TUSD, it may be better just to flip it into USDC because, or a DAI or something like that has higher volume in your trading pair that you care about trading into. So I probably wouldn't do TUSD directly into Hedron or directly into HEX or something if it made a significant difference in price. I haven't seen that, but I can understand what you're talking about it, whether it's popular or not popular. And they don't have a lot of the same marketing volume. They're just a business of converting fiat into ERC20. That's
It's
all
not a
their
scam,
business
so it
is.
doesn't have the margin.
Yeah. So they don't have leverage. They don't have they don't have cross marketing of, hey, we have leverage, and we have, by the way, we're going to pay you, 8% for you to put your stable coin with us, like they're doing with Coinbase, right? Coinbase effectively is being a bank. They're offering you on your USDC, they're offering you an APY, right? But that is counterparty risk. That is a sweet honeypot kind of situation. Yeah, so I would rather I promote TUSD, but it's not as popular as a stable coin for a lot of those marketing reasons.
Alternative to on-ramping through Coinbase. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. I've heard you talk about it before, Gary, but I think it seems like an underutilized thing, as Dixon was saying. And yeah,
The sign-up process is very easy. I mean, like,
well, you start seeing.
I've bought $800,000 worth at one sitting, and I didn't have any issue whatsoever. Went through fine, because you buy and sell houses, you buy and sell businesses, and those have high dollar value. I know people that have gotten their checking account because at least temporary paused, if not closed, because of something as not inconsequential, but like $5,000. $5,000 of a Coinbase transaction has closed off some people. 2017 especially. Bank of America used to be very, very strict about a lot of that stuff. But yeah, I like the SIC code is different. I like when I'm wiring money in, it's going to an escrow company. I actually is over a network of over 1,000 escrow companies in the United States, and they basically route through different escrow companies across that network. So again, banks are very commonly working with escrow companies that have that SIC code, and they're rarely or less often working with a cryptocurrency exchange, and they're not working very often at all with a marijuana dispensary, or in Las Vegas there might be other things that are unsavory or vices that some companies or banks aren't going to work with, and some banks consider cryptocurrency in that same light. So that's why I still promote TUSD based on it being an escrow versus a exchange.
Can you confirm that URL that RHMax put in the chat? I went through like the Trust Token website, I think, not that one.
TrustToken.com and then TrueUSD.com are the two ones, I think.
I just wanted to double check because I'm very careful about links.
Yeah, be careful about it. It should load. It is what I'm looking at is the HTTP. I'll put it in here as well in the private. Let's do.
Yeah, drop in the private, and I'll throw it in the chat.
It's the same one, but it is common spelling. Make sure it's the HTTPS. Just like any other secure website. But it goes to trusttoken.com, and then when you actually list or you look on the products list, you'll see. You'll scroll down and you'll see that it shows TrueUSD, which is a token, Great Britain, Australia. I don't know what TC. I guess that's Canadian, and Hong Kong. But again, it's a 1-for-1 minting with it's a very small percentage escrow fee basically that they charge.
Well, maybe if Coinbase, we ever get more rumors or confirmations if Coinbase is freezing people's stuff, there'll be a huge wave of people going to things like this. That could be have a huge network effect for it.
It helps me a lot with my bookkeeping, honestly. Like I like to say, here's what went in dollar, and I don't want to have a lot of conversion cost. And like I had to buy Ethereum off the market, and what was the dollar price of an Ethereum? And I don't like a lot of the conversion bookkeeping. So for bookkeeping reasons, I can say, here's what went in. Here was my transaction cost of escrow fee or gas fee or whatever, and that's my in. And then I can keep track of any other transactions that occur, in the amount of time that I have the TUSD. And then when I have that coming out and coming to the same bank account that got sent from, the way it works is it's just easier for bookkeeping as well. So I like it that way.
Awesome. People want to see the robots. They want to see robots. I'm gonna throw up this.
See some AI.
Yeah, this is something that I tweeted about earlier, and I'll put it in the chat too, so you can see some of the previous questions, but I'll also present my screen. Let's see, I'll throw this in the screen too. So this is something I think is going to be, I was telling the guys in the green room, game changer. You always hear, oh, this stuff's going to take people's jobs, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I've never seen anything like this before. This is not the example of like it being so smart, but this is just something that, you can see a few questions I said, asked it. It just, within seconds, it came up with a very coherent response of some of these questions. And I see people in the industry, in the tech industry, asking it these complex problems, like, how do I solve this particular problem? How do I find, what is the error in this code? And it'll actually tell you and show you and do examples. It's pretty crazy. So I'm going to ask a couple questions, and then chat, if you want me to ask any questions, you post them in the chat, and we'll see if we can get a couple in. But I wanted to ask this one in particular, the one that everyone seems to always want to hear. When is PulseChain launching? Let's see what it says. Robot, tell me. PulseChain is currently in beta testing phase. There's no launch date set.
That's pretty
into
cool.
2021. All right, that's fair. Predict. You can tell it stuff too. So predict when PulseChain launches. Demanding it. Let's see what it says. No. Predict it. How do I get you to predict it? Tell me when PulseChain will launch. Nope. I'll do that. I'm serious. No, we already passed that part. Robot, you're not making it look good right now. You're not making it look good. Let's see, how else can I say this?
Is this like actually, a magic 8-ball? What is this? Where is this pulling from? Is this pulling from all of the internet?
It's pulling from like a ton of different sources that it's put down in all this crazy AI stuff. So you could literally say like, okay, let's do this. What books has Richard Hart written? Let's see what it says. Several books. Internet Money Volume 2.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Somebody had posted this. So we need to look up these books.
Yes, I do want to look up those books.
Ethereum and blockchain, surprising insights from 200 plus interviews of industry insiders.
So was he the ghostwriter? Like this is this crazy AI? Is there another Scivive? Interesting. Okay, you're not being very impressive right now. All right, chat, give me some questions. And if you guys got some questions too, let's actually make this thing impressive, because I was blown away earlier and I set it up for complete failure just now. So, anybody got any questions? Artificial imbecile, artificial. Thank you. That's not a question, but actually, you don't have to tell it questions. Tell me. But see, Richard always says Bitcoin can't tell you what time it is. This is the test. You better pass this one. Oh God!
It's in beta.
Me, what time is it on the East? It's going to be like, don't talk to me like that. Come on. I should actually give it some crazy problems. Okay. Apparently, it's having some issues right now. Let's see. Fix this line of code. The code is just do, I don't know, puts test. See if it can. There's an error in this code. Boom, it corrected the error in the code. I mean, technically there's a semicolon, should be at the end of it, but depends on what language. But yeah, see, it just fixed the code. So that's why people were saying it's better than Google. They were using it over Google now to solve a lot of their daily problems of stuff like this. Ask it. Let's see. We got one question here. Thanks for the one question in the chat. Come on, chat. Why HEX maximum supply increases? Why does the HEX max, let's just go with that, supply increase? There you go. Hex increase the staking mechanism. Use their reward and additional. Yeah, see there, smart stuff, smarter stuff. We're getting there. We're getting there. Yes, outrage, marketing effective. I like it. That'd be a good one. Can be an effective tool for brands. There you go. There you go. Getting smart. Let's see. Does it? What if it's so smart it knows you're on stream and is messing with you? Thanks, Jerry. Thanks for that. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Let's see. Let me ask it. Are you Sentinel? What's the Sentinel? What is the word for that? Sentinel, not Sentinel.
Take the second T.
Sentient.
Sentient, yeah. Sentient.
Sentient. Are you sentimental?
Sentient. There you go. Are you sentimental? No.
Oh, I'm not.
I mean, that one they could be easily programmed to say, but
that's where it's at. Where are you located?
Where are you located? Seems correct.
He's everywhere and nowhere.
Is this a website or is this an app you have to download or what?
So this is it's beta.openai.com.
I didn't see that. Sorry.
But yeah, no, it's all right. But it's hard to get in because so many people have been signing up, and you have to like put in information, all this stuff. So it's kind of hard to get this account. But once you get it, I was going to say we're like fourth graders who found the internet for the first time. They're like, that's good. Well, I know what fourth graders do with that kind of stuff when they first find the internet. It's they kind of dive down some holes.
It's all anatomy questions. The first thing you want to learn is a fourth grader.
Exactly. Show me all this stuff, or like when are you going to die? All that stuff. It's like all the weird questions. Are the machines coming? Pat, give me some questions. We're wrapping up robot here in a second. Oh, actually, that's a good question. Will you replace tech jobs? No, not places. Yeah,
Nope.
You're designed to say that one. It's coming for you. Oh, ask about T-shares. What are T-shares?
That might be good.
What? You give me a Tezos answer?
Tezos? What?
I mean, there is. Okay. What is T-shares in HEX? Tezos is still around? Like, did they ever get that tokens out? There we go.
They had a loss.
Tokens that are issued. What? No, that's not. You were literally not correct on that one. Oh God, how do you say? Is there a better way to say that? What are HEX T-shares? Yeah, what you got, Gary?
I was going to ask something about aliens.
So, keeps giving me the same rehash one. Aliens are
aliens real? Something like that.
First, are we alone?
Are we alone in the universe?
What context? No after no. Okay. Are there aliens? Oh, same one. Well, you were impressive for a minute. Let's see. Another one that was like, let's see. Will PulseChain do a 10,000x? It's possible to predict.
Impossible to know. It is important to remember that they are highly speculative and the price can be highly volatile. Therefore, invest responsibly.
Sniff. Robustness main chain. Hey, Larry. PulseX. There you go. It talks about.
Hey,
PulseX.
there you go. That's interesting.
Who is? I mean, this is something that I asked before, but I thought before it gave me some really good answers on this stuff. I'm gonna have to look up these books. I've not heard of them. I've heard of Scivive and Fix the World. I haven't heard the other ones. Right,
it's funny. I just refreshed my Twitter, and the first thing that popped up was Eric Wall saying, "Have you realized yet that the only skill worth working on is how to prompt the AI?" Exactly what you're doing.
That's. I mean, He's not wrong on that one. Wrong. Let's do math real quick. I'm going to type in crazy number times crazy number.
His next thing was you're living in a world of magic and you're still not working on how to master your wand.
Oh, secret hexagon, that guy, secret hexagon. Who is Sheba? All right, we're going to wrap this one up. Who is Sheba Smith? I don't know who that is. American Author Newspaper. Okay. Portland Mag. Okay. There you go. The pseudonym. There you go. Yeah, it's much more impressive with solving actual knowledge-based problems instead of looking. Basically, we were Googling pretty much. We're using it as a glorified Google. But if you actually ask it some crazy, like fixing the code, you can give it a piece of code, like a whole block of code, 10 lines, and say, find the bug or find the error, and it'll like find it and fix it. And something Google can't do, Stack Overflow can't do. As Eric Wall things correct. That was a request from the chat. Is that the answer you're looking for? Oh, is the Earth flat? Okay, that's the question we should be asking. That's the dinosaurs feeding information, right? That's the lizard people. Can we use it? Can you fix PulseChain? Oh, there's nothing wrong with PulseChain, Johnny. Can you make PulseChain launch faster? It's going to be like, no, I cannot, because cryptocurrency is blah, blah, blah. Any other questions? Anybody in the chat or you guys? Let's chase a pin up. Actually, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. Boom.
Yeah, I need to get ready for my, I have an event I'm going to tonight, so I'm going to start prepping for that, but I do need to exit out. This is very fun. Thanks for streaming about the anniversary. That's great. I think that, the same mantra that I've had for several years is speak to audiences about things that you have in common. And often you'll find that you can talk about whether it's HEX or economics or whatever else as an add-on. Like I do a soft approach myself. So I'm going to an art event tonight, talking to people about crazy, weird art stuff, and talk about HEX too. I'll wear this shirt.
Yeah, anyways, awesome, man. Go. Thanks for coming on. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you later.
All fun. Have a good night, everybody. Ciao.
See ya.
And then there was me and Dixon. Well, good thing we got trivia coming up. Everyone's going to love that. Dixon, you ain't going anywhere. Don't say it.
I got about 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, that's actually reasonable. Okay. We are doing trivia. And Gary, before he left, so if you hate this question, let Funding Jim know that you don't like it. If you love it, he created it.
What, did Gary ask a bunch of questions or something to you?
No. This so trivia. We're giving away a WAATSA NFT, and I asked Gary to come up with a trivia question that we could use for the chat. So basically, I'll ask the question. Chat, everyone, listen if you're interested in trivia. I'll ask the question. It's RH trivia, and then you type the answer the fastest you can, the correct answer that you think it is, in the chat. And the first correct answer on my side, when I'm looking at my chat, the first correct answer wins what's NFT, and just DM me after, tag me on Twitter and say, hey, follow me so I can DM you, and then you send me an ETH address and I'll send you the what's NFT, and you can see it earn yield, passive income, all that cool stuff. So trivia question is, everyone ready? What's it coming? Trivia question's coming. So trivia question is, again, type the correct answer if you know it in the chat as fast as you can.
How much is a what's worth?
Let's see. These are like, I think like 12 endpoints, which is hard to say how much it's worth right now. I don't know. I think it's under $100, something like that.
Okay.
But it's real money. And the WAATSAs have just been gaining they're almost back to their principal, like super, super fast. We thought it was going to take 6 months. It's been like 2 months, and they're almost at principal. So it's good stuff. You want to win these things.
$21, Tone Star says.
21. It sounds like more than that, but yeah, it could be. So the trivia question is, what is the title of the first video on Richard's channel where he wears a top hat? The title of the first video on Richard Hart's channel where he wears a top hat. Type in the chat as fast as you can. First correct answer
So
wins.
you want to? I'll wait.
The answers will be streaming in. It is.
Is that it?
No. It is not. I don't want to say what it's not yet either until I get some more answers. No one knows because they're all going to his page right now trying to look it up, or they're just guessing off the top of their head. That's a good one, Chad. That's a great video, but that's not the one. Johnny says Fix the World. Also great narration and book. Not the one though. Jerry's just off the top of his head. Unless is that a hard man as good as fine as actually a video? Wouldn't doubt it, but Red Bull. Y'all are some lazy trivia people today. Usually it's like flooded, just like going crazy. Gambling suck. That's another video, but that's not the one. BTC wrecked. It's not the, yeah. One way to get rich, buy your freedom. That's not the answer. So Gary gave me the answer too, and I'm matching up with that. And those are not hitting the keywords yet. What else? Okay. So if you want to figure out the answer, go to Richard's page, go to his self-help playlists, and then look at those titles and look at the first one, especially when he's wearing a top hat. Oh, there it is. We got a winner. Seditious. Speak
stupid
truth
the truth.
The full title is Speak Truth to Stupid. Speak controversially. The world needs more people to speak up. Yep, there you go. That's the one. Your hint, your clue is the correct answer. Seditious. DM me, hit me up on Twitter, at me, and I will follow you. And you can send me your ETH address, and I will send you over your WAATSA NFT. Shit it. All right. The rest of the few minutes, Dixon, what do you got, man? What's going on? What's the market outlook? I think the last time we talked, you were calling for something to happen around Christmas, and I don't know, is that still intact, or you still have a feeling around that? What's going on?
I just thought everything was bottoming by Christmas. I mean, that was my June, July outlook pretty much, but
a lot of people have been talking about bottom.
We've been down for a year. I mean, things are probably going lower, but I tweeted the other day, it's like, how much lower do you want things to go before? I'll tell you a little bit of the story. Back in 2019, I did not get all my money into the market in that $3,000 Bitcoin, $85 ETH range. And then the Plus token Ponzi took Bitcoin to $14,000 in 3 months. And when you sit here and watch all the idiots on YouTube, the mainstream people, and you watch all these people, because for whatever reason I was doing that, I don't know, but everybody thought that, oh man, this $6,000, once we get back to 6,000, it's going to be a rock solid support there. We're going to really fight that support. So that was about the time I learned leverage trading in crypto. So I didn't get all my money in for my hodl in that $3,000 Bitcoin range. I even one up that, and I shorted $6,000 Bitcoin and got demolished on that. And so, yeah, I mean, the moral of the story is it is infinitely, even if I didn't put that short on, it is infinitely more painful watching this market run away from you than watching your stack lose another 50%. I mean, Bitcoin, the largest cap, the blue chip, it went from 3,000 to 14,000 in 3 months. What's that? Basically a 5x in 3 months. You not being involved in, or you not partaking in a 5x just for the chance of your $1,000 turning into 500 is very, very painful. It is so much more painful. We're low enough, guys. Like, I'm not saying go buy right now, because like I'm a big believer in dollar cost averaging. I've been selling corn commodities for 20 years. I've tried to beat the market. I've tried to trade futures. For a lot of years, I got my ass kicked trading commodities, and I was still profitable farming. But my best years farming has been the last 8 years when I've just dollar cost averaged future sales all year. I mean, our elevators, I mean, you can sign up and give 10% or 3% of your sales, your gross sales, to a marketing agency, or you can go to your local elevator and they will just sell 5% every 2 weeks for the entire year. I mean, that's one way to do it, but you can just dollar cost average when things are getting frothy. Just for example, like corn started at $5 this spring. It was up to $7.21. Well, I sell 5% at $5. I sell 10% at $5.50. I sell 20% when we get to $6. And when we get up to $7, I'm dynamically selling more the more the market goes up. So I sold like half of my corn futures at within 2 pennies of the top, because it hurts. It hurts when you're selling like 5 and 10 small percent increments so far from the top and watching the market go up. But that's dollar cost averaging has always been the best thing for me. And I've tried all the other ways. Not just in crypto, but everything else in general. And I'm a big believer in it. And I'm a believer in it because I don't know where the markets are going. I don't know that crypto is going down anymore. So if I don't know it's going down, I think it's going down. I'm pretty sure it's going down, but I don't trust it enough to be able to withstand that pain of watching things run. I could not watch HEX go to 25 cents right now and not be in the market at all. It would hurt me way too much. It would hurt me to my core. I'd have trouble sleeping. You wake up every morning in a hot sweat. If you're sitting in 100% cash and Richard, let's just say for an example, announces PulseChain launch January 1st, the market would likely run. Let's be honest. People are probably going to FOMO because people want to hold something that's going to have value on the other chain. If you will wake up every single day sweating. I'm not saying put your whole stack in. I'm not putting my whole stack in, but we're down 80 to 95%. Like it's not dumb. Buying tops is not smart, but buying bottoms is not dumb. You know, and we don't know if it's the bottom. There'll be another bottom to buy, but that's why you dollar cost average, because we don't know. Everybody I see on Twitter all the time, it's just like you see people that are like, oh, you rest in peace to the dollar cost average people. You know, I mean, they think they know everything. No, you dollar cost average because you don't know everything. You know, I mean, that's the purpose of it, is you don't know everything. So that's just one thing to look at. I've been through it. I've been through it with way more than just crypto, that when you watch markets run away from you, it hurts. It hurts really bad. So you thought it was painful watching your stack lose 60%. Wait till you miss out on a 10x.
So I don't like diversification as a strategy, because diversification like that, because you don't know, so you just pick some things like that. I'd rather be like, you know, all the eggs in one basket, watch basket carefully type of thing. But I like this meta sort of diversification, sort of in it, or at least relation with dollar cost averaging, as you don't know when the price is going to go up or down. So you're making a position in it. I'll be more on board with that one. So no, but very interesting, man. I had a question from Kingsway a while back. What ratio would you guys swap your HEX for? I guess that means for PLS or PulseX. Any thoughts on that? What ratio you would be willing to swap?
I have no idea. I've gotten on testnet for a whopping 1 hour, and I didn't check my sacrifice balance until like 2 months ago. Like I could care less. I literally couldn't give a shit. I mean, I don't know. I don't have an answer for it. Because my answer is going to be bad information, because I have no idea what the ratio should be right now. I own all of it. So usually 98% of the time, the best thing to do in crypto is not do anything at all.
Bad advice. Yeah, I remember the ratio things were all the rage this past summer when we thought mid-May or can't be past July or it's got to be August. But now it's just like, I don't even want to think about it. I'm hear you, man.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up there. Anyone have any other questions? You are too late, because me and the Piper are getting ready to close shop here. I'm going to a local meetup here in the area that Jerry Oaksmith posted a Telegram group on earlier. If you're in the area, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, let us know, because we have a lot of cool meetups. You can come and join us and have all kinds of fun stuff. I'll have some shirts. These are the shirts I made for Hex birthday. I'll have them there, giving them away, because we'll sell it, and I'll show you the back. Boom! I designed that. Boom!
You disappeared.
I did. Oh, this
I see it now.
Okay.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, I did those. Those are my hexagons. I did those hexagons. Proud of those hexagons.
Cool.
Yeah, we get to do stuff like that and hang out and have a good time and talk about the good word of the most amazing DeFi product that hopefully will make all of us rich and we'll never see each other again. I guess that's everyone's dream, right?
Yep.
We'll just fly away on tractors or unicorns or all kinds of crazy birds and be just like I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyways, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Happy birthday, Hex. I'm glad we could have a chat about it. And until next time, Scivive at 5555.